All right. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another fun-filled session of HR Heretics. It's Friday, right, boys? It's Friday.
It is.
I can't believe it. We have Bryan Power back on the show, everyone, joining us today. We had dinner a few weeks ago, Bryan, and Bryan and I sat next to each other. Thank you, Nolan, for making that happen. And we were talking about AI. We were talking about all the fanfare and all the stuff out there around it, the reality of how you actually do this day to day. And a lot of people we've been talking to recently, Nolan, and I've been personally talking to, high level, right, people, officers, operators, a lot of them have been saying, I actually don't do anything with AI during the day because I don't have time. I'm actually building stuff. It's a distraction. It takes time away from that. And I've heard that a lot. And Bryan at dinner was like, I'm the opposite. I literally just tinker most of the day. I carve out time for it. I think that we own this strategy, not just for ourselves, for the company. And I was like, holy shit, that is a huge chasm between what I've been hearing and what you're saying. And I want to understand what that looks like and feels like with you day to day. And then we're going to end with our favorite corporate lingo, which is a new fun-filled rapid fire round I'm putting in here, which is the worst company phrases you're hearing out in the wild. We all hear them. We all say them. I'm guilty. And we're going to make fun of some of them. So let's kick off, Bryan. So tell us about what you're doing at Nextdoor with AI, how you think about it, in general, and we'll jump in here with some conversation.
Sounds great. Well, first, thanks for having me back. Repeat guest. I feel honored. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. If there's merch, I want to buy it. Like I mentioned to you all, I consume this on my commute in, and I basically demanded you let me back in because I've been talking to you in my car and you can't hear me. So it's great we can all get together live on this.
No, you're not the first person that's told us, like, I yell at you in my car. What is that? What do you yell?
That's the right emotion.
Well,
that's the right emotion we want.
Yeah, is what Nolan say make you scream? Like, what do you?
Well, so both of you are offenders. I think the brand you've developed is excellent. You come with real opinions on things that are happening. And sometimes my yells are absolutely, this is so right. Why don't more people say this? And sometimes I want to be like, you're crazy. There's no way.
You're the dumbest fucking people on planet Earth, Nolan and Kelly.
I think that's why I love this podcast. And I think, I think other people do too, because I think it's great. The universe of people-focused podcasts has grown so much since COVID, and I think the communities sharing and learning is all good. But you're a little more unvarnished, and that's my jam. I really appreciate it. So keep it up. I think the last time that I was on, we talked a little bit about AI. This was months ago, and I think that lots really happened with AI and AI in the workplace. And so I think, outside of Nextdoor, I'm certainly feeling like resistance. There's a lot of people who are like, this thing didn't out of the box make us all superhuman, so false advertising. Yep. Or to your point, Kelly, people are like, okay, I got to try this. And then it doesn't, there's all these things that go wrong. It doesn't work. And then you're like, okay, now I'm behind. Now I got to go do the stuff I was supposed to do today. And I lost an hour, so I can't do that again. And that overhead of having to learn. I think in general, people are saying, everyone's talking about AI bubble. Every freaking company is now selling AI. Their product is now AI. So it's bubbly. It's hot. But I think the resistance has come from people know how to do their jobs and they're trying to do it, and trying to have people do their job in a different way takes time, and you might not figure it out as you get into it. So that's just in general going to slow things down, and people are going to go back to doing what they're doing. And I do think the narrative, like some of the CEO takes are just so cringy, and I think that there's a real fear in a lot of workplaces that you're being asked to figure out how to remove your job. And people are kind of like, why would I do that? I don't think we have that issue at Nextdoor, because we're very much trying to activate the energy to use it to grow each other, our opportunity. It's like, how can someone do the work of more people versus how can we do something with less people? That's been our vantage point with AI. And inside of Nextdoor, I've been here for 7 years, and I'm very lucky that my team, my direct reports, we've all worked together for like at least 5 years. So we have the benefit of having been together through a lot, to cover, just call it kind of normal people team stuff. But that also lets us work in new areas because we're not trying to cover gaps or going through team building. Like we have a little bit of an advantage in that regards. But that I've tried to take advantage of that opportunity for all of us to really push us to try to figure this stuff out. Really going back now a year. So internally at Nextdoor, I'm the leader of the cross-functional effort to bring AI into the workplace. We call it Project Neighbor. Neighbor spelled Naibor. And we love neighbors at Nextdoor, and we fused it with AI. And I'm working really closely with our IS and IT teams and our engineering teams. And we've really just tried to build the internal community around this. And I think, what you're getting at, Kelly, is the early curve. There was an article in Hacker News that talked about this, is that engineers actually became less productive when they first started using AI. But then when they learn how to use it, they can become more productive. But you hit this initial wall, and so people stop. And I thought that was a good example of what everybody really runs into, because I definitely lost a lot of time a few months ago. But now I feel like how we do things as a team, how I set up my day, how I try to use it, I can't imagine not having these tools available.
So give us that rundown though, Bryan. Like, what is it like day to day? Like, how do you think about this? And then broadly, how are you thinking about, instituting this AI process across an entire company when there is resistance?
So I'll use a specific example of what I did at the beginning of the year that I think help galvanize some of the learning. So one of the best practices you should do is just offer training. People don't know how to use it, so you should train them on AI, and you can just use stuff from OpenAI's website or LinkedIn Learning. Like, there's just stuff out there to get the basics going, and you should push that and say, people, you should take training. So we don't have a dedicated L&D team at Nextdoor, and I wanted to kind of create the training. And so I normally, historically, would have partnered with a facilitator or a program designer to create a training. I didn't have one. So I forced myself to use ChatGPT to develop the training, right? And what I found was it actually, what had been historically like an iterative process with a program designer was happening at such a higher velocity that I was able to kind of get to the content I wanted to train in a much shorter amount of time than I would have had with working sessions with like an L&D. And I've had some great L&D practitioners, but just the nature of the immediacy of me to kind of get to, okay, here's what's going to be on the slides and here's what's going to be in the class was like really that was like a first real insight for me to develop this course. And then I realized, like, I can just teach this course. Like, all I got to do now is just show up. And so I think a lot of chief people officers would like to do more things like facilitate or present or teach. But, like, the pre-work time allocation is what prevents you from doing it. So I just decided, hey, this teaching will help me learn too. So I kind of led our AI fundamentals training that I created, but kind of borrowing from other companies and really made it our own. And so one of the first insights that I think is really important as part of this training is you have to start to think about a product like Claude or ChatGPT as a teammate, not as a tool. And this kind of came to life with me when I was making a training with ChatGPT in the same way that I would have made a training with a program manager in the past. I was like, oh, I kind of get it. Where most software is like a tool, you're just kind of like, it spits back data to you. But the more I invested in creating the teammate and treating it like a teammate, the more I got out of it. And so this led to something Kelly and I were talking about at dinner. I've actually now changed my calendar to where I have one-on-ones that it's called one-on-one with a certain GPT that I've made. So like that AI teammate. And then what that used to be like I'll block time, right? Like creative time or work time. Like people use that type of thing. But there was this shift when I set it up like an actual one-on-one with a specific type of GPT that is meant for a certain type of problem. It became this like one-on-one working session that was way more focused and would really start to produce outcomes.
I'm going to stop that. Yeah. That's fucking cool. So like, I don't know about you all listening, but when Bryan just said, I set up one-on-ones with ChatGPT, I was thinking like, you're setting up one-on-ones with a human and you're going to talk about ChatGPT. Like, no. You literally are booking time with these agents just to tinker with them.
Yeah, so like I have 45 minutes later today. And so it's like when you have one-on-ones with your directs, you each have a list of the stuff you're going to go over when you get to that one-on-one. And so I'm kind of dedicating this space to a certain type of thing I want to work on later, the same way I would with someone on my team. But that is very different from like experimenting with AI during like work time.
Exactly.
This is where the rubber hits the road on a lot of this stuff right now, in my opinion, where it's like, that's great, you're set. What exactly are you going to do later? First of all, kudos to you, Friday afternoon with ChatGPT. Like that is commitment. Hey everyone, we'll be right back in a moment after a word from our sponsors. On this show, we tell the truth about HR. And one of my favorite conversations we've had was with Melanie Naranjo. She put it so simply. HR isn't about optimizing for compliance. It's optimizing for people, for culture, trust, and workplaces where folks actually want to stay. That's why I'm such a fan of what Melanie and her team at Ethena are building. She was brutally honest about it.
So Ethena, we're a compliance company, which let's just put it out there. That sounds pretty boring if you think about it, right? Okay, harassment prevention training, not very exciting, right? We are very lucky in that we are in the HR tech space that's required, right? Harassment prevention training is not really optional. You need it. The question is, who are you going to use for it?
Exactly. You're doing this training whether you want to or not. But here's what she told us about the impact.
The amount of impact that I've been able to have from the HR perspective has been just huge. It's phenomenal. We're doing all these amazing things that, quite frankly, too many companies don't do because they don't understand the power of their HR team.
Instead of boring, check-the-box training that everyone hates, Ethena delivers content that's modern and impactful. We're talking 200-plus courses in 100-plus languages with a 93% learner positivity rating to back it up. They take on all the tough topics, harassment prevention, workplace violence prevention, code of conduct, and make them actually engaging. And for HR, it's effortless. Training runs on autopilot with automated enrollments and reminders. There's even a built-in hotline and case management system to help a true speak-up culture. Look, you're going to do compliance training anyway. Why not use something that actually works and doesn't make your people want to hide under their desks? Done right, like with Ethena, compliance becomes a strategic tool. It's actually a way to reinforce your values and build a stronger workplace. Check them out at goethena.com/heretics. That's goethena, GOETHENA.com/heretics. Get 10% off of your first year. Your workforce is your organization's greatest strength and often its largest single expense. But without the right tools, understanding where your workforce spend is going or how it impacts your bottom line can be a challenge. That's where Planful comes in. With Planful, HR and finance teams get the clarity they need to make smarter workforce decisions, gain real-time visibility into workforce fluctuations, forecast with confidence, and adjust talent acquisition plans collaboratively based on costs today and into the future. No more guesswork, just data-driven insights to help you plan with accuracy. And the best part, Planful is fast and easy to implement, so you can be up and running in weeks, not months, with minimal IT support. Plus, as your company grows, Planful grows with you, providing endless runway for strategic workforce planning at any scale. Ready to take your workforce planning to the next level? Join over 1,500 organizations already using Planful. Visit planful.com/heretics to learn more.
So very specifically, Nextdoor, we have a leadership offsite, the executive team, in 2 weeks, and I'm putting together the agenda. And I was just in New York this week talking to a bunch of the people that will be at the offsite. So I've got kind of their input on how we're going to run some of the sessions. And now I'm going to pump it into ChatGPT and like turbocharge the agenda that will be like, we're going to send out the pre-work a week before the offsite. So normally that would be much longer. But now because my GPT has history with me as a chief people officer and other products I've worked on at Nextdoor, like I can say, hey, this is what we're going to be discussing. Like I want, help me figure out what should the template look like that I want the people leading the discussions in advance to fill in. That will be like minutes versus just cut and paste what we did last time. You know, and you can really quickly now, the familiar nature of it now means I know what it will do well and not do well. So we're going to have not like, oh, he obviously used ChatGPT to generate the agenda, right? Like I'm just going to use it as like my co-pilot to create a great agenda for our offsite. And that's just one of the things I'm going to do.
The thing there, what you're saying though, which is really interesting, is that you're meeting with people to inform what you're going to use as your inputs. Are you recording those conversations, Bryan?
Yes.
Okay. So
No
then
more
I'm
than
assuming
that. I'd say the default is to try to just transcribe the notes, also as a way to just. I'm terrible at taking notes now.
Same.
Right? Like
Same.
And like it's so much lost. It's so much lost. So just having the default be like, we should probably not record maybe one or two things, but we really should record as much as we can because it's going to make everything better.
Yes. So, but then I'm assuming what you're doing is then you're taking the transcript of all of those conversations.
Yeah.
You're pumping in those transcripts, and then you're saying, I have an exec offsite in 2 weeks. What I want help with is setting the agenda. And then for each agenda item, like the things we really need to discuss that need to be on there. And then what do you think should be, what do you think would be good for pre-work? And so you're using it as a thought partner, right? In the same way that like if you or I were to sit down and I was on your team, you'd come to me and be like, Nolan, what do you think? Like, what would be a good, given like these are the agenda topics, what would be a good like, thing we want people to fill out beforehand? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and so there's another multi-dimensional nature that I think people don't use enough, which is, so I can do that. Then I can say, okay, here is the profile of the 7 other executives that are going to be in the meeting. This is the CRO. He's been in that role for a year and a half, and this is what he did before. This is the person, this is our GC, this is our head of engineering. And I can say, and this is the type of thing they care about. Now, what are they going to think of this agenda? Give me what you think their feedback will be before I even send it to them. And so, like, for example, a chief people officer, like I did this on another webinar, like say you're going to present in a budget meeting, you want to get funding for training. You can be like, what is the CFO going to ask before you go to the meeting with the CFO? And it will adopt the persona of a CFO and criticize what you put together. That's different from just asking ChatGPT. You're saying like, how can I anticipate the functional expert's reaction to what I'm doing before you even go in? Like so people are doing that now, showing all the meetings, like they're not just anticipating what this person's going to think. They're getting like probably what any baseline person in that role would think ahead of time. And a lot of the meetings that we have in today's world before AI is you go to get what the marketing person thinks or what the finance person thinks. Like you have to do this around the room socializing that AI can really take you 80 yards downfield before you even have the meeting. So the velocity can just really, really step up.
Talk about that. Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, before we leave that, I think the breakthrough that's been for me, and I'll be honest, it hasn't been like, it's been pretty recent, like months, I'd say. The breakthrough on this is that, and maybe others have felt this too, is I think it could be very easy to assume this is ChatGPT is just going to give you faster kind of drafts one-off, if that makes sense. Like I'm going to sit down and get my offset agenda. The breakthrough for me is like this thing is an ongoing partner that literally thinks like you and can spit stuff out with nuance around your situation, and it keeps learning that. So like you don't just get a robotic thing out that's text. You get it with an angle, and a lens on it that is specific to you and your team and your personality. And that to me is like, if people aren't using this now, you're missing out because it's not some generic thing. It literally is like living and breathing and dynamic as you continue to grow.
Yeah, but that requires work. That requires work though, right, Bryan, from your side in order to provide it the context. So how do you provide it that context? Are you just like new chat every time, or do you have like a custom GPT with all of this history saved?
I have custom GPTs for things that I do all the time.
Yep.
I also use just quick. It's how I kind of experiment with different ones. Like if I just have a random, it's almost like sometimes when you just Google something, you just see an answer. Like that's okay for sometimes. But it's interesting. That's actually one thing we talked about in training too. I think we have to unlearn Google. Like Google, and I worked at Google for a long time. It was built on speed. Like you give it a word and it gives you an answer in milliseconds. It would tell you that took like less than 1/1000th of a millisecond to get you a response. In ChatGPT, it's the same interface. It's this blank page with a text box. So we're used to just hitting send fast. And Nolan, to your point, you actually want to take a long time to set up your teammate. Again, that's where the teammate versus tool distinction for me was really powerful because I wanted to make sure I had the right partner then work. Where when you just open up the browser, you're like, let's go, I got stuff to do. Like, just give me the freaking answer. And so that's when you get the generic GPT responses, like you're doing a Google search with it. And I think this is where a lot of people just run out of room. They just are just doing the quick version. And I can also tell right away when some are super proud they're learning ChatGPT. And Nolan, I know you can tell. Someone's like, this is obviously cut and pasted from whatever you put in.
AI slop, right? There's a term for it. It's AI slop, yeah. But
that's not the promise. AI slop is not the promise.
No, but what you're doing though, to pull the new teammate analogy further, is you're onboarding it.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what you're doing. And what's really interesting for HR people, like I'm actually like, I don't give a shit about onboarding. Like I'm just like throw people in the deep end of the pool is typically how I've done it in the past. But a lot of shit I take from HR folks is like, no, you got to have an amazing onboarding process. And this actually should speak their language super well, which is you need to onboard your new AI teammate, and you need to invest the time to do that in the same way that you pedantically talk to those managers and say, well, how can you expect them to be successful if you're not spending time on the onboarding process?
That's right. That's, again, I said it twice already. The teammate mental model helps so much because you think about how you interact with it differently than something that's in a browser. And then you start to see the return. You know, like Kelly, back to your specifics question, unless you came up through compensation, I don't know how chief people officers don't have their own high-powered custom GPT around compensation. It's such a technical domain that you need to understand, especially as a public company. And like, how many freaking comp questions you ask your comp person that are like fundamental questions? What's the difference between, performance-based RSUs and RSUs? Like, how does this work? What do I need to know about this? This sounds really technical. Like, you can just hardwire that and then stop bothering your team with these questions. They will feed you the technical detail.
Like the fork in the road that I'm hearing very clearly, and we've said the fork in the road is the work you have to put into it. It's a go slow to go fast situation.
And it'll go faster.
Like, joke I've heard is like, geez, I took more time writing these freaking prompts in here to get this email than it would have taken me to write the email. But the forest through the trees point is that you're onboarding this thing to go faster later.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we'll be right back in a moment after a word from our sponsors.
I must admit, I used to believe that AI didn't actually exist in recruiting or HR. That is until my friend Heather Doche, who leads talent at Signalfire, told me to check out Metaview. I got into the product and was like, wow, AI actually does exist in recruiting, and this product is sick. Metaview is the world's #1 AI scribe built specifically for recruiting. Their AI records and transcribes hiring conversations, like intakes, interviews, and debriefs, then provides perfectly summarized notes of everything that was discussed. I've seen firsthand how tough it can be to extract consistently high-quality data from candidate conversations. I've been in debriefs where interviewers told us about their feelings instead of what actually happened in the interview. And I've seen VPs and CEOs block hires because they didn't learn anything from skeleton scorecards. Metaview changes everything. With perfect notes from every conversation, your people can focus on creating a human connection with candidates, and they can save time on the busy work of cleaning up notes after every interview. But it's so much more than just a time saver, because perfect notes means perfect data. For every candidate and every pipeline, hiring teams can make confident, informed decisions, and talent leaders can finally take control of the interview process. Metaview covers all your compliance needs, works with all your existing tools, and takes less than 3 minutes to set up. Join talent leaders at organizations like Brex, Deel, HelloFresh, and Quora, and check out Metaview. Head over to metaview.ai/heretics to talk to one of Metaview's product experts. Tell them that me and Kelly sent you. Or you could just go to their website and get started for free. You'll be up, running, and AI-enabled in minutes.
The other thing is, like, say you start a new role as a chief people officer, and the people that work for you, like, they need help understanding how you like this work and how you want to see things. And you'll take the time to do that. That's kind of the same mindset with AI. You don't expect a brand new person who starts on day one to understand how to work with you. So I think applying that lens will really help. The other thing is you can literally use the tool to create the GPT. Like I didn't, my comp GPT is like 3 pages long. Like I didn't write the 3 pages. I started like anyone else would be like, hey, can you be like a comp partner to me? You know? And then I'm like, actually, can you write out what an amazing prompt for a compensation expert would be? I'm a public company. I have this many employees in this many countries. Like, what are all the things that should be in there? And then it will tell you how to code itself. Again, that happens so fast. So in the old world, you're thinking, I got to spend an hour thinking about how to come up with the right instructions. It will literally create the instructions and you can refine them.
Yeah, that's been my learning. That's been my learning in the last, like, I'd say like 30 days is exactly that, which is just like, instead of me spending all this time on prompt engineering, just ask it to do it for you. Right. And it's so much easier that way. It's crazy. That's the huge shortcut that I've experienced recently. So Bryan, go back to this exec offsite. So, all right, you have your custom GPT. You fed it all of the context from these live conversations which you're having, in which you're taking the transcripts and dropping them in. I fucking love that. Then you're also taking like the players in the meeting, so all the execs, their backgrounds, any specific context on them. Love that. Then you get this like output. So walk me through that, because you're testing Gamma and you're doing all sorts of stuff. You and I have talked about this. Well, talk to me about the output phase, and then what are you doing?
So one, I haven't done it yet. I'm going to do it too. But what I'm probably going to do is it'll give me cut and pastable content. Okay, here's an agenda with times, and I'll kind of tweak it. I really love Gamma as a product too, because I am terrible making slides, and I have lost so much of my career to just trying to make slides look presentable, and I hate it. And I hate that it's an expectation that they have to look good. I understand why, but like it's been brutal for me. And Gamma, for me, Gamma.app is like you can literally just dump in text and it gives you slides, and the slides are great. And I'm sure the font should be a little different, but it is ready to rock. I can walk into a room within minutes of dropping it in there. So that's how, I don't know that we'll be using slides for the offsite. I'll probably send out like a Google Doc. But if I thought we needed slides, I would say, here are the slides for the meeting. So this is like a 30 or 45 minute work session. I'm going to walk in with a bunch of threads, and I'm going to walk out of this one-on-one with executive team. Here's what you need for the offsite in 2 weeks. Done. And here's the slides we needed for the meeting. Can someone add this piece of data that's not in there? It's all ready to go. And again, like a year ago, this would be, okay, can someone help me with these frickin' slides? I know it's Friday at 2, but I need slides for my peers now. Can you please spend 2 hours of your time making them look good, because it'll only take you 2 hours. It'll take me 8, and then I got to wait. It's Friday that you get it back to me, so I'll just send it Monday. Like that is where like the velocity really, really drops. Because so much of work is like, okay, let's end the meeting, and then everyone just needs a week. Whatever the action item was, you just get a week. And half of this stuff, you could actually probably finish it in the meeting with the in the meeting. It's like, just don't go anywhere for 10 minutes. Just do this right now.
The expectations, because I love Gamma too, and I'm kind of probably like early, like I haven't spent enough time, but once you spend so much time in there and learning it, it just becomes like boop boop boop. Like it's like making music. It just works, but you have to become capable around doing that. You can't just expect to download Gamma and like, where's my presentation?
That's right.
Nolan and I talked with Sile, recently at Metaview, and a lot of this stuff is around human nature, like most things, expectations, etc. So I guess my question on that, Bryan, maybe both of you, right now, this all seems optional. Like generally, right? Like you're an early adopter, you're choosing to do this. Like most people probably aren't doing this at the level you're doing it. It is objectively optional right now. What happens 2 years from now if you're not doing this? Is it still optional? Like, you know what I mean?
Again, I think I mentioned this first time we came on this. I was a .comer, I recruited before the internet, and so there were people who were recruiters in the late 90s that were like, I've never had to use the internet now. I've been doing this 20 years. Like, why would I need to start? And so like, that's true. They kept their business for a few years, like late 90s, early 2000s. But can you imagine a recruiting firm today that doesn't use the internet? or by extension, like where people don't know how to use the internet. It's just completely cannot exist 20 years later, right? 25 years later. So I just think it's similar. It's like, you draw that extension. Like I remember in the early part of my career, people who couldn't type. Can you imagine not being able to type today? Like how would you do your job if you couldn't really type? Like you were a slow typer. You just wouldn't get into the professional working world today if you can't use a keyboard like super efficiently. And I think that might go away. I think like talk to text is coming and stuff like that, but it's the same. I think it's like relative comparison because it's not knowing how to use any of these tools in any way 5 years from now is going to be such a limitation because it will become so embedded in so many ways things get done.
It's the tension that all knowledge workers have, which is I have a task that I need to get done right now. But I also have this brand new technology that I need to learn. And what people are doing is they're just going right to like, well, I have this task. I know how to do it. I'm going to do it the old way because like I'm comfortable. That's really like what's going on here is like people are comfortable with their existing workflows.
Yeah.
And this is where I've been trying to like ring this bell like really loud. Like this is like the dinosaurs like watching the asteroid coming and them being like cognizant of that thing and not trying to like build some sort of defense system as it's coming towards them. That's what's happening right now. And so I keep saying like I think there's a mass extinction event happening because it's people who don't take the time to learn and follow their curiosity. You have to be curious about this. I disagree that it's optional. I think it feels optional right now, but it's obviously not. Yeah. Like clearly it is not optional. Yeah. It's coming in the biggest way possible. And like, Bryan just said, he doesn't have an L&D team. Like he also just mentioned comp. Those are the two things I've been thinking about over the last 10 days, Bryan. Like those specific examples of it within the people ops department, I think are at the highest risk of AI coming for, and it's not like taking jobs, but it's like not having as many humans, right? Yeah. It's just not having as many. I don't need as many if I'm using the tools appropriately.
Well, I think, again, and this is a really important distinction for us at Nextdoor, I think a person who's learning in public is the CEO of Box, Aaron Levy's really good to follow. And his thing is like, which I agree with, the magic isn't just automating the workflow with AI. It's creating workflows that couldn't have existed before. So when it comes to comp, like I think everybody wishes a comp person could sit with every single manager for every single comp discussion decision that they have. We all wish we could do that. You can't. If you're in a comp cycle, you've got like 2 weeks to have 200 conversations, or 500 like you can't do it. You can actually do this now where you could create like an AI comp partner and every single person could have their own custom comp person in every single conversation. So that's contemplating like that's not conceivable to do with the bottlenecking of there's only so many comp people. The same thing is with onboarding, right? Like we have to package onboarding as a program that all the new hires go through it together as one thing because like there's only one onboarding team. And so you have to generalize the content where you can now, like we're starting to experiment, like how can you create each person's custom designed onboarding buddy that gives them their job specific information over their first 90 days. Like you can't do that with people. You would not hire someone to just do that job at that level of bespokeness. But now the onboarding team can think that way. So I think that's why, to Noel's point, it's important to be learning because it starts to create those types of experiences for people teams that you just couldn't. You're like, we don't have the head count. Just can't even think about it.
And there should be urgency. There should be real urgency around this. Like, and this is the stuff to where it's like everyone has competing priorities. Like I got 2 kids, like I got 2 kids. They're like right in prime time, like, 6 and 5. Like I want to be there. I want to be around. But like if I don't carve out a couple hours per week and really spend time like learning this and like trying to apply it to my workflows, then I know what's coming for me, which is my extinction moment. And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. And I think it's also good to understand that not everyone ticks that way. It's hard,
Yeah.
you guys. Like,
It is hard.
fucking found myself yesterday creating slides, and I was like, stop, go to Gamma,
Yeah,
take an
totally.
extra
Yeah.
fucking 24 minutes, give it a whirl, giving myself permission to get out of it, right? That's the biggest thing for at least me, maybe others, is you have to do it. You have to just go tinker. Give yourself permission to not do it if you're.
Good. And as a people officer, giving permission, like one of the best points of feedback I got internally was people really appreciated these group work sessions where they could just kind of tinker in a dedicated tinker time. They were allowed to be there. They were supposed to be there. And like, I wanted to move on to the next lesson or whatever. Like, no, I just got to let people kind of like get lost in it
So creating
that was the most valuable thing for people.
Yeah. Creating the space for low stakes. Like, you don't have to get anything out of it necessarily. And then it becomes, but
it's like a hackathon.
It's kind of like
hackathons are great. We did a hackathon.
Yeah.
Too. Like, those things are really, really crucial because they, to your point, Kelly, like not everybody can find the night and weekend time, so to speak, or that's just, they can, but that's not how they learn. They're not going to get it done on their own. So all these different ways to help people go down that path.
Yep. And I hope that more of us have more conversations like this, because right now it does seem a little, you know what I mean? Like, I hope we can all come together and like, Bryan, you could probably open a fucking consulting firm on this stuff, right? Like, just grab someone and be like, hey, you got 10 minutes, share your screen, like, show me how you set up this custom comp.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that's going to get people comfortable. Because right now it's a lot of imposter fear. Like, you just got to kind of take the leap,
Yeah. There's so much vaporware. I'm really sensitive to what you're saying, Kelly. There's so much bullshit out there right now, and
there's so much bullshit. Like, I'm about to pay you on the side and like do 1 hour a week and like show me how to build these. I'm serious. Like, it's important. So
it's what the thing. So, I've been working a while. And this has disrupted since I became like an executive C-suite, this has disrupted how I spend my time on a weekly basis more dramatically than like, I guess work from home. I guess going to work from home was like a major disruption too. So, but like my time, like many execs, my time would be like 13 to 15 meetings a day, just freaking maxed all day. And that's how I got maximum leverage. But now these spaces where I'm using this tool is creating equal leverage, I have to kill meetings so I can get this time now, which I wouldn't have felt like that a year ago. It would have been like, oh, I got to figure this out. But now I know I need it to get the stuff done I need to get done. It's kind of found its way. It's really reshaped.
And I think we're totally. I mean, I think we're probably close to wrapping up, but if I have one takeaway out of this, and it was a takeaway. I don't spend my time like this right now. I'm about to change it. Is wrap this into how you operate. Like, wrap something in to your operating mechanisms for the week, whether it's by yourself, with one person on your team you want to get like really smart really quick and then teach the rest, with a team meeting. Like, just wrap it, like create space for it and how you run the business. I'm going to start changing that. So
yeah. The last thing I'll leave people with is I've been reading Cal Newport's new book, Slow Productivity. And like I think a lot of the lessons there are really applicable to right now, which is like, you have to do fewer things. Mm-hmm. Like you cannot, like, this is not about taking on more. I think that's actually like a misnomer about this era, right? It's like, we can do more. I actually think you need to do less, and you need to be so obsessed with the quality of your output and making AI part of the workflow for the fewer things that you're doing with super high quality. And then I think people will feel a lot better, as opposed to just like, oh, well, this just means I can take on more. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true today.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Are we doing the lingo?
Yeah, you're doing your lingo thing.
This is a pretty heavy conversation, so
you set it up though. You got to do it. You got to lead us into this, Kelly.
No, I know this was a heavy chat, so we got to leave with some levity, and with some fun. So we're gonna do a rapid fire round, and it's gonna be around just the corporate speak. Like, what is your the shittiest corporate lingo that maybe you hear, you've heard, maybe you use? We're all guilty. And not only do I want you to say the phrase, I want you to use it in a sentence. I want the audience to like feel how this happens out in the jungle with this corporate lingo. And while you're thinking about that, Bryan, you mentioned HR Heretics swag. That would be, I mean, Nolan, I think, printed a couple t-shirts once, but I don't think you need any. You got a nice fuzzy bear on your sweatshirt. It looks like Paddington right now.
You need bumper stickers for people who are riding into work.
Okay, so I'll go first since I sprung this on these dudes right before we started. But the phrase that I just can't stand, and I've used it before myself, is circling the wagons. And how I've always heard this is, yeah, you know what, Jane, that's a great idea. Let's regroup. Let me circle the wagons internally, and we'll circle back next week. Circle the wagons internally. That's
why do you hate it?
It's just it presents to me, first of all, politics, which I hate. Just this unnecessary running around, kind of herding cats together, circling wagons, bureaucracy, getting stuff through. Just like, it screams bullshit to me. And so whenever I hear it now, I'm like, what does that mean? Who are you going to?
I'm thinking it's like Lewis and Clark era history. Like you're supposed to put the wagons in a circle.
What wagons are you circling, and who's circling? What does that mean? So
that's tough.
Yeah. Like, I'm all about analogies, but that one, like, actually doesn't make sense at all.
It's pretty old.
Circle the wagons. Okay, let's move on.
Bryan?
My current trigger phrase is take it offline. Okay. And this would mean, like, Kelly and I are wasting everyone's time talking too long, or more likely, one of us doesn't know the answer in front of everybody. And so we're folding. And we're saying, hey, let's just take it offline. Let's get out of the view of the people in the meeting and get our shit together and come back.
Yeah.
And I found I hate, like, it's even worse, So take it offline, which means we're online right now. Take it offline means, I guess, go talk about it somewhere else. But
and everyone's
I hear it almost every meeting, like, let's take this offline right now. And
yeah. And everyone's like, what are they going to do offline? What does that mean? What happened?
Yeah, like what's going? I'm always curious, like what's going on there. Like I kind of want to know. Yeah. What are you guys going to go do?
I love it.
I'm over it.
Mine. This is like a serious. It's funny you mentioned this today, Kelly, because I knew mine right away when you said it, and I hadn't actually. I haven't thought about it. Like when people say, I just get super annoyed, and then think they're dumber when they say it. Which is, I want to double click into this. It's literally from 2015. Like if you said it from 2015 to 2017, like you were part of the VC lingo at the time, like salute to you. It is 2025 now. If you are still saying that, you are using empty words, and every time you say it, I am boiling inside and wondering when I can get off this phone call because I think you're dumb.
That's cringe.
My God. I think I might have said that like last month. Like, I'm not even joking, dude.
I'm with you, Nolan. That's got to go.
Oh my God. Okay, so thank you for humoring me. I love this kind of stuff. Everyone, if you thought this was entertaining, like please tell us and throw in your favorite corporate phrase, because it's fun to make fun of ourselves sometimes, isn't it? Especially you, Nolan.
Yeah, and Kel, while we're on it, Bryan, we're going to now require you to be a regular guest. Because of your passive aggressive comments of yelling at us in the car. So we will now bring you on regularly so you can actually just kind of meet the beast in the arena. And whenever we say dumb shit, we would love to get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Please.
The more abuse, the better. So if you want to be on, just abuse us and we'll, hang out.
You guys are great. Please keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again for having me.
HR Heretics is a podcast from Turpentine, the network behind Econ 102, Moment of Zen, and Turpentine VC. Subscribe, 5 stars, share it on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, all the things.